Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan here on the Epic Sports Network. James Movie alongside my broadcast partners tonight, Mr. Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo. And we are extremely excited that you've joined us here this evening for another night of talking Arizona high school football. Welcome in here on the Epic Sports Network. We're so glad you joined us here this evening. And have we got a jam-packed show for you tonight here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Spoovy alongside Mr. Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo. Guys, you know the games that we're going to preview tonight, and I'm excited to have you guys on here once again this evening. And, man, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about here this evening.
Jamal, James, I cannot believe we are in week 9 of the high school football season. Has this season not just flown by?
It really has.
It's flown by. It's flown by for sure.
Well, tonight we're talking about, of course, our Thursday night football matchup this week on 12 Plus, which features the Hayden Falcons battling the Maryvale Panthers. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. We got a full slate on tap for you tonight. We're going to bring in Coach Daryl Phillips, head man over there at Hayden High School, home of the Falcons. Coach Phillips, thank you so much for taking the time. We're going to bring those players in here with you here in just a moment, but go ahead and tell us what's going on over there with Hayden. We talked with you a little bit off camera, and you're just trying to implement a solid culture there at Hayden and really get the football program back on track, Coach.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, fellas. It was a program in turmoil when I got there. And when we got there, the thing was to heal the program. And as we started just focusing on getting better and healing, we started to change the product that we're putting out on the field. We started running faster, blocking better, playing better defense, and we're improving every time we go out there and play a little football. So it's been real exciting. It's good to get back into it. I've been out of it for a while. It was good to get back into it. It's definitely reviving me to my youthful days, and the boys are real exciting. So.
Coach, you mentioned this is your second year as the head coach at Hayden. Have you seen the culture shift over this first year in almost a second year as you're heading into your 9th game so far? Have you seen the young men start to buy in to what you and your coaches are trying to implement in your system? Absolutely. Definitely doing that. They're, making visits to the weight room. They're getting involved in the off season. They're competing in the off season programs. When we first got there, the thing was improvement. We had a long way to go. We're trying to improve. And then we got to this year, and the improvement wasn't improvement anymore. It's like, okay, let's start to see results. You can measure and say we've seen results because we're making improvement in the record, and we have a chance to have one of the better records that they've had in quite some time there, and got a good opportunity to go out there and just show what we can do this week. So we're excited about it.
Coach, when you look at this season and so far, and just a 10,000 sky foot view, how would you assess the season so far?
Wow. So started off great. We had some disappointments, but we played real physical, which is really what we wanted to do when we started this program. Just be able to run downhill, be able to play better defense, be solid on special, just becoming a solid football team. And we started to do that this season. Early on, we had a couple mistakes that cost us. Game 1, we're up, and they were coming out of a timeout, and they don't set the ball like they normally do, and they get a cheap one on us, and then they come back and they get another cheap one on the blown coverage, and it turned into a dogfight, and we ended up losing that one late. And but the boys never got down on themselves. They kept playing physical, and we're bouncing back. We've been through some tribulations this year, but we're back at it and trying to finish the year strong.
Coach, what is the first step when you take over a brand new program? You're coming in there, you understand the job at hand is to try to turn the culture around. Where do you start with a monumental project like that?
I started with assessing the situation in general. First you have to get the job, but you have to get the job, and that was part of me getting the job here, is just painting a picture of where the program was going. Yes, we're going to heal it. Yes, we're going to build it. Yes, we're going to recruit it. Yes, we're going to fix it. Yes, we're going to learn to and implement fundamentals. Yes, we're going to do the right things, and then we're going to start to compete. So it's a definite process. You have to implement all of those things. You can't ignore the fact that all of it's important. it's not a one thing fix, and you have to approach it a different way. And, we're doing things a different way, and I don't want to divulge everything we're doing because we give away the blueprint, but it seems to be working thus far. We went from a program that we took over that finished the season with about 22 players. We finished last season with 90, and we'll probably finish this season with close to 80. So a little bit of step back, but the quality of player has increased as well. So,
Coach, what's the excitement level like on campus at Carl Hayden for football, knowing as you're trying to, as we've talked for the last couple of minutes, trying to resurrect this football program and get it back to prominence?
It's funny that they're real supportive. There's a lot of school spirit there. I was really surprised at the level of school spirit there and support. It's been tough treading for the last couple of years, and the fact that we go out there and score points and be competitive in any situation, I think, contributes to that. And the fact that we're not giving up a monumental amount of points. I mean, there was a stretch there where we had a few players missing and we gave up some points. But when we're competing and we have everybody full stream, we're rolling. So and we feel like we're back that way this week. It was a great time to do it against a great team.
Coach, I believe a little adversity ain't never hurt nobody. But what's the message to the players in terms of just being able to get hit and getting back up after being hit?
Oh, so it's not even so much that. It's just the fact that we set a goal. It's still attainable. It's not as attainable as it was at the beginning of the season, but it's still attainable. But we have to go out there and we have to focus on that goal and take care of our part, and then see what the rest happens. See what happens with the rest of the elements that go into it. But we have to take care of our part, which is part of it is going out there and trying to upset a Maryvale that's now 3-0 in the conference, I believe. We know we're going against one of the better players at least in 4A. I don't know if he's one of the better players in the state, but he's definitely one of the better players in 4A. And we know that because he was running around with us last year. So he's a great player, and we're going to see what we can do to contain him. It's really exciting.
Coach, you got some special players over there yourself, and a young man named Damani Mitchell and Makai Wright. Tell us about these young men and what they mean to your program as we take a look at a little bit of Damani's film here.
Well, they're the heartbeat of the program. I mean, Damani's been a running back for us for quite some time. He ran for 800 plus yards, close to 900 yards last season. Finished the season with about 1,200 yards on the season between that and receiving. He started out as our running back this year, a little banged up early, but still kept his yardage numbers up. Then we like I say, we hit a little hurdle about week number 4, and when we hit that hurdle on week number 4, he stepped in and played quarterback. And we found out it made us a little better. And, when you can throw the ball and run the ball effectively and you don't know whether it's going to be in the big fella's hands or the quick fella's hands, that's a big problem for people. So we're looking to get real exciting down the stretch.
Coach, it has to be amazing to have Damani and Makai. These guys can throw the football. They can run the ball. They can catch the ball. They're good on special teams. They're good on defense. So there's pretty much, these are all ATHs, both of these guys, Damani and Makai. So to have these guys leading your offense, defense, leading the entire team in every facet of this football team has to be gratifying for you and also for their brethren who are looking up to those guys like, wow, if they can do all this stuff, we can do it too.
Oh, they definitely set the example every week. They go out and set the example, and it's good when you have players of that magnitude, because when you get out there and times get a little tough, at any time they can break the big play that'll put you right back in the ball game or put you over the top. It's nice to have that on your team, and I'm glad we have him. I mean, a big fella in Damani that can run downhill, he can be elusive, and then he becomes a triple threat when he can throw the ball. That's even better than Makai. The same way, he can throw the ball, he can run the ball, and he can catch the ball. So it's been awesome. I think Makai's 7 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. Damani's 3 or 4 over the last couple of weeks, and they've been producing real big. So it's good. It's good to have those guys out there. That's kind of the foundation. And then obviously, they do a good job to help the offensive line when things get tough out there. We see a lot of blitz packages when you run the ball well. People they try and go all out and they blitz you. And but when you have athletes that can make them miss, your blitzes and make you pay, you have to slow down and think about it a little bit. So hopefully they continue to do the thing they've been good at so far this season, and we roll with it.
Coach, you talked about your strong run game. Where do you think your football team, just as a whole, has thrived this year? What do you believe are the strengths of your team?
Diversity. Just we've been able to run the ball and pass the ball. Early on, we were real run heavy, and that's just kind of a philosophy in mind. If you can run the ball well, you're going to be able to score points. You're going to be able to wear people down. You're going to be able to win. You add in the element of now you can throw the ball well and create the big play through that. Now your offense is not having to go 12, 10, 20, 30, well, we haven't had a 30-play drive, but, in 10, 15-play drives, we don't have to do that anymore because we have the ability to break that and get some cheap ones. And then you get to recuperate when you do those things, And sometimes when you score fast, it puts pressure on the defense. But at the same time, the energy that's created by you being able to score quickly is just immense. It's immense.
Coach, we are super excited to have you guys on Thursday Night Football this week for the first time for the Carl Hayden Falcons. When you look at this Maryvale Panthers team on film, what are you seeing from them, and what kind of things are you going to have to prepare for Thursday night's contest?
Oh, if we can eliminate the big play, and they have a quarterback that's similar to ours, big fella that can run a little bit. He's younger, but he's still a big fella that can run and throw the ball. We slow him down and eliminate the big play. We should be fine against them. Definitely stopping the big play. And, I can't take anything from Mr. Woods. That guy can flat out fly and make people miss. But we have some guys that can fly and make people miss too. So, and we have some guys on the other side that might make it a little uncomfortable for them. So we're ready for that.
Coach, I was going to say, probably I would say that pressure getting to Masan is going to be of paramount importance, because what he did to Alhambra last week, 8 touchdowns, he absolutely destroyed that defense. So for you to be able to get in the backfield and make things uncomfortable for him, keep him on the run all night, get some sacks and force some turnovers, that's going to be really important for your defense.
Absolutely. He's good outside the box too, but if you can keep him in the pocket and get the pressure on him, he likes to run a little bit. And if you can contain him, then he's not going to kill you with the big play. So we definitely want to get after him a little bit, make him uncomfortable. We want to get after him a lot of bit and make him uncomfortable. And if he's uncomfortable, then the team will be uncomfortable. If he gets in a rhythm, he could be a problem. But if we keep pressure on him, who knows? He can turn it over just like anybody else can. So he's a good addition to their team, but we definitely going to get after him this week.
Coach, how much could a win over a team like Maryvale, especially a conference opponent, how much could a win like that kind of give your team a jolt for the rest of the season?
Late in the season, this time of the year, when things haven't gone quite the way you expected them to go, and get that win, that's good to finish. And then it leads into the following season. And that's what we want to do. We want to keep building each season. So, we finally got to the point where we can compete last year, and we won a game, and we were in ball games, and we were scoring points. This year we won a couple ball games. We've been competitive. There's been some times we haven't been competitive, but that's part of the process for getting better. Nothing Rome wasn't built overnight, and neither will we be. But we're working on it. We're working on it. And a win against Maryvale, who's in first place right now, puts us right back in the flow of, okay, we got a shot at this thing. So.
Coach Darrell Phillips, head coach of the Carl Hayden Falcons, joining us here. His team will face off this Thursday night on the Epic Sports Network and 12 Plus as they battle those Maryvale Panthers in an old school PXU rivalry game. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure to visit with you, and we'll see you in 2 short days over there at the home of those Maryvale Panthers.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, fellas.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, stay with us. More of the Desert Gridiron game plan coming up after the break. We will visit with the Maryvale Panthers. Coach Carter and the rest of the fellows join us when we return from the break. Get ready to feel the burn in Phoenix's newest hotspot. Hot Chicken Alley brings the sizzling Nashville-style hot chicken straight to your plate. Our finger-licking sandwiches will set your taste buds on fire. Come join us for a taste of Nashville right here in Phoenix at the corner of Tatum and Thunderbird. Brace yourself for a flavor explosion that'll keep you coming back for more. Hot Chicken Alley, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Football, right here on the Epic Sports Network.
On game day, communication is everything. Procom offers the most powerful, most reliable headsets on the market. Paired with our state-of-the-art coach-to-player communication tools, your team is sure to dominate. It's time to communicate like a pro. Visit us at procomheadsets.com.
We welcome you back here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Foovey alongside my broadcast partners, Mr. Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo. Guys, an exciting Thursday night matchup this week as the Maryvale Panthers host the Carl Hayden Falcons. Let's not waste any more times. Let's get Coach Mark Carter in here with us from the Maryvale Panthers. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. We certainly appreciate it. We've also got Marcus Carter joining us here as well, co-head coach for those Maryvale Panthers. Gentlemen, we've been trying to get you guys on Thursday Night Football for a couple of years now, and we are so excited that we finally got it done. Why don't you guys just break down the season for us so far there over there for Maryvale, and you guys are out of the gate and off to a fantastic running start.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's always good to see y'all. First of all, it's always good to see these gentlemen. The season started off kind of rough. We had a nice first five that'll get us ready for region. We started quite a bit of freshmen to start the gate, and a bunch of kids that had very limited or no varsity experience, and so. With that, it's going to be some growing pains, obviously. And, we have a similar, our staff on the offensive side of the ball is also new. So, getting everybody used to the system and getting everybody used to everything was, quite a task. But, no one quit. Everybody stuck to the script, and, we got in rhythm, at the right time. We're on a 3-game win streak. We're first in region. The boys are, really confident right now, but they're, definitely humble, and they haven't forgot where they came from. And so, they work hard every single day off and on the field. And so we're very happy about what's going on right now at the Vale.
Coach Mark, you talked about the 1-4 start. It wasn't the start you wanted, kind of like, wow, okay, we got to really bounce back from this. But then you come back, you beat North Canyon, you beat Copper Canyon, and the last week you blow the doors off of Alhambra. What do you attribute to that quick, fast turnaround over the last 3 weeks to a month?
Well, obviously, the players that we the transfers that we got, we had 9 transfers come in, and all of them have made an impact. You know what I mean? And so their leadership and their hunger, obviously it was infectious. And so now that the guys that we've had the first 5 games, have been battle tested and, been through the ringer a little bit. So they're hungry. And so, when you have good players, things happen. And so we can attribute also to, coaches, preparing them. And, we didn't change too much. We just, got in a rhythm. And like I said before, we have some really good players.
Coach Mark, you mentioned some of the inexperience that some of these guys have on your team so far this year on the varsity level. How much more important does that make the leaders on your team, the guys who do have experience, to kind of guide those guys and kind of get them more comfortable within the varsity level?
Well, obviously, it's super important, right? I mean, like I said, at one point in the season, we were going through our film, and we had, about 9 freshmen playing, and then another 6 or 7 guys who never played varsity football before. And so everybody that has come in has some varsity experience, and and has played, football at a really high level. They've just been in places where, they really didn't get seen, or, but, they obviously, you can see where they are now. And so, of course we're going to coach a little bit, but, at the same time, the talent is talent. And so those boys are playing really high. And then those guys that were there the first 5 games, are coming in and, working harder, and, they're getting into the flow. So, their leadership is important. They now are showing them how to, play football at a high level, and that's, equating to points.
Coach Marcus Carter also joining us here on the program tonight. Coach, tell us what your thoughts are on what you and your brother are building over there with the Maryvale Panthers program. And I'd like to know specifically how you guys are able to communicate with the players and let them know, hey, listen, we're on the same page together. So if he tells you something, I'm going to be telling you the same thing. So don't try to do like, the mom and dad type of play us against each other type of thing. You know how these kids will do. But how do you guys get that same message across to these teams?
Well, to answer your first question, things have been going according to plan. This is not Mark and I's first time, rebuilding a program. We did it at South Mountain. It was kind of a similar situation over at South Mountain, and then, going to Desert Edge, which was already a really good program, taking them to an elite program. And so, you just don't change the recipe. Whatever what we've been doing and how we've been doing it has been working on every stop. So why change it up? And as far as the players, uh, they understand. They understand who we are, and they understand Mark and I are basically the same person when it comes to how we want this program to go, and establishing the rules, not necessarily the rules, but the norms and the boundaries of what can go on, and who to talk to. Everybody from a coaching standpoint has the same say as we do. Mark and I just do the background work. All our coaches are equal. All our coaches are varsity coaches. And so, we just make sure that everybody is on that same level playing field, and the players understand that. And that's where you build that love and that respect and that camaraderie, because no one's above the program, not even Mark and I.
Coach Marcus, I wanted to ask you about your 3-0 start in the 4A Copper Sky. Very important thing to do, obviously. Only giving up 48 points in your 3 games. You've got some good teams there. Copper Canyon, North Canyon, Washington, Carl Hayden. They're all just a couple games behind you in the division.
Yes,
so the importance of starting off 3-0, getting off to that fast start. And as we look forward to the game in a couple of days against Carl Hayden, of course, another 4A Copper Sky team.
No, it's very important. Our goal obviously was to come in here and to make a change in the program and in the community. And so by winning the region, I think we're off to a great, if and when we win the region, I think that'll be a great start. Beating teams like North Canyon, who's a really good team, and we have a lot of respect for Coach Johns. For Coach Johns over there, he's actually in the process of rebuilding the team over at North Canyon. And then, the Copper Canyon has been a really good program in 4A for a while, and they have some really good players and really good, coaches and stuff like that. And for us to start off 3-0 with an opportunity to, run the table and be region champs, I think that puts us in a whole different category. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure people understand that, it's not, Maryvale is a great place to come to school. It's a safe place to come to school where you can get a great quality education, and you can also be great in athletics. Coach Smith and the basketball team has done really well. They made it to the play-in last year, and so they're building a program. And we just want to come in and make people understand that, what you heard is not what it is over at Maryvale High School.
Now, Coach Marcus or Coach Mark, this for either one of you guys, but I'm looking at some of these running stats. I mean, you have a few guys over 100 yards this year. Obviously, that run game is led by Isaac Buchanan. How important is it to build that run game and establish the run game to control the game?
Well, from an offensive standpoint, if you can try to control the line of scrimmage, more times than not, you control the game. And so, we have some really good players up front. They've been, with each other all year, all summer. They've been the same group, and so those guys up front take it personal, and they know that it's like a boxing match, and anybody can knock somebody out. But when you start throwing punches and hitting people on the ribs and on those body blows, eventually you wear an opponent down. And so Isaac has been really good about picking his spots and doing the things that he does. He broke the school record in rushing earlier in the year with, I think he had 378 yards rushing and about 4 touchdowns. And so, we just got like I said, one of the transfers we received was, Deshaun Mitchell, and he's come in. It's like a thunder and lightning, almost like a Reggie and Lindell. I'm a Trojan, so I'll use that reference. And so those boys, they love each other. They take care of each other, and and so being able to run the ball, obviously is something that we have to do. We've done it at every stop that we've been at, and so Isaac is closing in on 1,000 yards, and so that'd be a good thing for him as a sophomore. And then when you add someone like Masan, who's also a dual threat quarterback, who will, he does. It kills me, but he doesn't shy away from contact. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're in a hole with him, he's not going to try to juke you or run away from you. He's gonna lay that wood. And so so our running game obviously is going to help us, close out games. And I guess in the Copper Canyon game, that was one thing that we did. We close out the game, running the ball, and then people want to blitz, and then you do things like this, and and we're off to the races.
Coach, tell us about your quarterback, Messin Alakpavi. I hope I'm saying that right. I'll have to practice that a couple times, I'm sure, before Thursday night. But you guys have so much talent, and Ed and I were talking before we started tonight, so much young talent over there for the Panthers. You got this quarterback, just a sophomore, and then your stud defensive end and Kevin Smith, who we also have on the program here tonight, Scatter Smith as he's known, just a freshman.
Yep. So I'll talk about Masan. I'll let Marcus talk about Scat. But Masan is special. He's a special young man. I think he's starting to figure out, his potential. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was a confidence issue. I just didn't think that he didn't know. And so now he's seeing all the different things we're doing offensively that we've been doing each game, and he's starting to figure out like, wow, I could do this, I could do that. And so that game he had last week, I know for a fact that it opened up his eyes. And so now that he's a sophomore, only a sophomore, he's going to continue to grow. He's working with some people behind the scenes. I want to give a shout out to, Coach Minucci, who's been working with Masan, as well as, what we do in practice. And so he's been taken care of, and you're starting to see, it's just one of those things when you get a nice plant and you water it and give it the right sunlight and give it the right, nutrients, it blossoms into something really, really special. And that's what I think what's going on with Masan right now.
For Scatter, he's just, a great young man. He could have went to any school, to be honest. He could have went to any school that he wanted to and been successful, but he chose Maryvale. And so the first five games, he's just, he played over 150 snaps a game. He was playing offense at tight end. He was playing defense at defensive end. He was playing all the special teams. And, for a freshman to come into a varsity program, I don't care if you're at Maryvale or wherever, but to come in and do that and put a team on your back as a freshman is amazing. And so, now that he doesn't have to play as much offense, he's a lot more fresh. You can see the twitch and the explosion and stuff like that. And so, we're just looking for him to grow. He's 6'3", 205, and he's just going to turn 15 on October 26th. And so, having, cornerstones like this into your program, that's going to help. He's also a 4.0 GPA student in honors classes. And so having cornerstone, great, young student athletes like this, people can see, hey, if a guy like Scatter can come and flourish at Maryvale, then so can my kid.
Masan, congratulations on the season you're having. A sophomore season, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, almost 600 yards passing. And, of course, the game you had last week, you had a game for the ages, my man. Talk about that game last week and just reflect on the season you're having so far. And just only in your sophomore season, you're learning and growing on the fly, and then you go out and have an 8-touchdown game last week.
I feel like it was special mostly because I got to do it versus my old school. I want to shout out my brother too, motivated me on the field. And, yeah, I feel like that's really it.
Masan, I want to kind of stick to your game and your season the season so far. I look at the touchdown to interception ratio. You have 11 touchdowns and only 1 interception. How important is it to not turn the ball over and give your offense a chance to go down the field and score?
I feel like it's really important because, we win games on offensive games, but I'm really doing what I can. That's really it.
Masan, we're extremely excited to see you play on Thursday night against Carl Hayden. As far as Kevin Scatter Smith is concerned, young man, you are having an outstanding season here for the Maryvale Panthers. Talk to us about what you've been working on in your game in the offseason, and you must be working almost around the clock to be balling out like you are as just a freshman.
For real, I just have Coach Golden. I want to give a shout out to him. Like when I came to Maryvale, I wasn't as good as I am now, and he just been putting me working, and my teammates, they've been motivating me and pushing me, making sure I'm not slacking off at practice or when I'm in the weight room lifting weights. Yeah.
Scatter, number 2 on the defense and tackles, 5 TFLs, all those are sacks, of course. And just a freshman. What is it about this system that the brothers Carter have implemented that you are growing and you're coming out here and you're exploding in your freshman year, just 8 games into the season?
It's all about consistency. So we go lift every day. And as I said, Coach Golden, we work on pass rush every day, footwork, foot drills, and like getting off the blocks, stuff like that. So I feel like that's helped me a lot.
Masan, when you look at your game and you kind of look at your game from a 10,000 sky view, what is the best part of your game? What do you believe are the strengths of your game?
You're muted.
You're muted.
There you go.
I feel like my it's the deep balls because I feel like I got the best wide receiver going for A. So that's definitely the yeah.
A host of Maryvale Panthers joining us here tonight on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. The head coaches, Mark and Marcus Carter. So great to catch up with you guys as always. And your quarterback, Messon Alakpavi, along with Kevin Scatter-Smith. Masan Alakpavi. Am I saying the last name right, by the way?
Masan Alakpavi.
Alakpavi. Got it. Yeah. I will nail that.
We got to say that 1,000 times on Thursday, coaches.
Absolutely right.
Let's
Always
get it wrong now
with you guys, and we thank you for your time tonight, gentlemen. Thank you, and we'll see you on Thursday night at your place over there at Maryvale High School.
Hey, thank y'all, man.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
A pleasure to see you guys, man.
Always great.
Thank you, guys.
Stay with us. We will preview the Max Preps Game of the Week coming up this Friday night against as the Basha Bears host the Hamilton Huskies. More coming up on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan after a brief commercial timeout.
Discover more Play for All at Harrah's Auction Casino.
Hi, folks. Here are your drinks.
Where having fun means racking up reward credits with the Caesars Rewards loyalty program that can be redeemed for food, free play, hotel stays, and more. Not only here in the city of Maricopa, but also at more than 50 Caesars properties coast to coast. From Harrah's Las Vegas to Caesars Palace in Atlantic City. What are you waiting for? Play for All at Harrah's Auction Casino, the official sponsor of Play.
It starts with a dream and a desire to be the best. You got the talent, you got the drive, and the work ethic. But to get recruited, it takes more than that. You need a playbook. That's where Recruit ID comes in. Our digital tools connect you with college programs that are fast, easy, and effective. Your dream is closer than you think. Let's get you seen. Visit recruitid.net and take your recruitment to the next level.
We welcome you back to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Spooby alongside my broadcast partners tonight, Mr. Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo. Guys, I'm excited for that Thursday night matchup, Maryvale and Carl Hayden. The first time we've had both those teams on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, that'll be fun, Jamal, to go over there for our first time. Should be a really good game. Always these division games are going to be tight. Even though Carl Hayden's not having the season they will have envisioned, Jamal, they're still going to be a tough opponent for Maryvale.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's a region game. Maryvale is coming into this game undefeated within the region, and so they are in first place. And so Carl Hayden will be looking to come in and upset them, and that would be a huge win for them, as Coach mentioned earlier. But for them to come in here and compete with Maryvale, I think I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a fantastic matchup. Make sure you join us on Thursday night. We'll be on the air right here on the Epic Sports Network at 6:30 p.m. And then the folks at 12 Plus will join us at 7 p.m. for kickoff between the Maryvale Panthers and the Carl Hayden Falcons. Again, both first time on Thursday Night Football, and we could not be more excited about it. And speaking of exciting, we might have the game of the week, not only in the state of Arizona, but in the nation coming up this Friday night as the Hamilton Huskies battle the Basha Bears. You talk about a game for the ages. Both teams coming into the contest 7-0 on Friday night, and we're pleased to be joined now by head coach Chris Dixon and wide receiver Roy Oliver III joining us here on the program. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. We certainly appreciate it. And why don't you just give us a little breakdown of the season so far out there for the Hamilton Huskies? You guys obviously rolling, and just tell us how you're able to keep that momentum going here, checking in with a 7-0 mark here in this part of the season.
You know, it's been really great. Sorry, my camera's not working. I don't know what's going on, but it's been awesome this season. You know, obviously we have Roy Oliver on the call. It's just been exciting to watch these guys perform at a high level, week in and week out. Just kind of hitting the right pace right now in the back end of the season. It's just a great time, great moment. You know, we look at entering this week versus Basha. It's a great moment for these guys, and it's a great great for high school football here in the Valley. It's pretty exciting. And the guys have been doing well, week in and week out, playing very confident. So,
Coach, the fact that there is going to be 36 players that are going to play on Friday night that have Division I offers, what does that say about the state of talents, football talent in the state of Arizona, that many players on your side and on Basha's side have Division I offers? These guys are going to move on to that next level eventually.
Yeah, there's talent. There's talent definitely in the Valley. It's exciting to watch, seeing 36 guys on the field at one time, knowing that they're going to be on playing on Saturday afternoons, on big television networks. It's just, like I said, it's a great opportunity to watch these guys perform at a high level in front of their own community, in front of their neighborhood friends and family. That's exciting for CUSD, for Chandler Unified School District, and everyone else in the neighborhood. So we're excited about it. I think the big picture here is that guys like Roy, who grew up in the neighborhood, grew up with guys that growing up with guys that he played youth football with at Basha. And I just think it's just neighborhood rivalries where they can have, a little rights for the year, for 365 until they see each other again next year.
Coach, obviously a fantastic start to the season, but it starts before the season. Where would you say in terms of the preseason, where does that start in terms of the identity, the culture of the locker room you're looking to build in order to have the success that you're having so far?
That started the day after we lost last year in the semis. Going and taking year one, stepping into year one, going to semis, losing to Liberty. It was kind of just let's get on the ground, let's get running. Year two, the month of December, going into January, throughout the whole spring, was just continuously to build our identity, our culture, and what we truly believe and stand for, and understanding that, and getting the players to continuously to buy in to the message and to the vision of our program and where it's going to go for the next several years.
Coach, tell us about this young man you brought along with us tonight, a 4-star wide receiver who is only a sophomore. Roy Oliver III is having a season for the ages. We're going to take a look at some of his film here, but tell us what this young man means to the Hamilton Huskies football program.
I look at him and what he means to the players on the team. He's a leader. First and foremost, he works hard day in and day out. On the practice field Monday through Thursday. So what you see on Friday is the way he practices every day. He's a guy that's first in the weight room, first to the practice field, last one to leave. His work ethic, what he does behind the scenes, and just does a great job taking care of his body. I look at this young man at an early age who's treating himself not just a Division I football player, but as a professional who handles business, very humble, respected by everybody. I think he's a great person he's very contagious to want to be around on a day-to-day basis. I can't, there's so many great things to say about this young man and what he's done and who he is as a person individually without the football in his hand. It's exciting to watch him play. As you see this clip that you're showing on Friday nights, it's exciting every time he touches the ball. You're just like, what's going to happen next,
Roy, all the love that coach just gave you, does that really motivate you? And does it mean a lot to you to be a leader on this football team, for all the guys to look up to you? As coach said, you're the first one in, the last one out. The work ethic, all the work that you put in, and all the time, as we see this touchdown catch right here, you got separation. That's crazy. But the fact that you are an absolute, one of the undisputed leaders on this football team, how much does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot from coach, because last year we talked about it. We both started at the same time. His first year coaching at Hamilton and my freshman year. So we were going to be on the same boat for the next 4 years. And all the work and practice is always great. We always push each other. And in the weight room especially, everybody's not slacking, and we just push each other really good.
Roy, when you look at your season, I mean, just ridiculous numbers. Over 1,100 yards receiving, 23 touchdowns. How would you assess your season so far this year?
It starts on the O-line, give Jax time to throw the ball at me, and I have trust in Jax. He has trusted me to give me a shot and make a play on it. So it just starts there. I got to give praise to the O-line and Jax.
That's a smart wide receiver right there, Coach, giving immediate credit to the offensive line, a young man who was aware of where everything starts and ends with a football team up front. That's exactly where things happen. Coach, I got a question for you. We first ran into you a couple of years ago out at Eastmark High School, where you put a quick stamp on that program there before taking the job at Hamilton. If you were able to go back and talk to Coach Dixon at Eastmark High School from what you have accomplished up until today so far, what would you tell that little bit younger Coach Dixon?
What would I tell him? That's a good question. I think the biggest thing I would tell the Coach Dixon a couple years ago is to continuously to keep growing, right? I think the growth mindset is the hugest thing. I just stepped away from college football and kind of stepped into this world. I think the new world of high school, from going from college to high school, is just continuously to be open to not just your players, but also to your family, coach, players, parents. I think it's been different, right? I did as college coach previously, college coaching, just tied in more with the booster club, being at a predominant high school as Hamilton. It just, the day in and day out, jobs that requires to be a football coach. At Eastmark, I was doing a lot more football, where, obviously Hamilton's a different space compared to Eastmark. It's definitely just been a change in overall of organizational structure and those different things. I think that's the biggest thing over the course of several years that I've learned, being a head coach for my third season now. It's just every day is a learning day, right? And I think the biggest thing I wanted to do when I got to Hamilton was to put people around me that could stretch me, from Coach Camarillo, Coach Lopez. I got Coach Tucker there. I got great coaches around me that can stretch me, that I don't feel that I have to be the guy that has all the answers. I can lean on guys around me that have a lot of great experience, who've won state championships, who've been at big time programs, and who understand what my vision and mission is, and to help me get there, not just for myself, but for everybody else to know that we're doing right by the young men in our program, and to give them opportunity to pursue their careers and dreams.
Roy, we saw countless connections between you and Jax in those highlights, and you've done it so far. Jamal said the number is over 1,100 yards receiving, 23 touchdowns. How does that relationship build? Of course, you can build it in the middle of practice and in games, of course, but the time that you spend off the field and just you guys are just kind of kicking it, you're chilling or whatever you're doing to just build that relationship, build the camaraderie between QB1 and WR1, wide receiver 1.
I'd say it started in 7th grade. We've played on the same youth team, and we built a great connection, like the trust, like I talked about. We got big trust in each other and make a play, and it's just practice. Everybody's going full speed. We go full speed every time, make it a game rep like Coach Dixon preaches.
Roy, we've mentioned the numbers a few times, and we've seen how fantastic they are. But where do you think you need to get better? Where do you think you can improve the most in terms of your game?
I'll probably say off the line. Sometimes I'm like hesitant, but I just gotta trust in myself and know that I can make a play and get off the line.
What is the mood, Roy, of the team around this game coming up this Friday night? Obviously, I talked about it a little earlier, the biggest game in high school football this Friday night in the country. What does that mean to you to be on a national stage like that? There's going to be thousands and thousands of people watching you guys perform on Friday night. How excited are you for this matchup?
I'm really excited. They're a great team, so we got to step up to the challenge. It's a big opportunity to show the state that we can play, and many different things in the game that we can show. We can ball out and just put points on the board. Like, we can stay consistent with the 50 points or 49 points now, but just stay consistent.
Coach, what are going to be some of the keys to victory against Basha? That's a tough team. They're 7-0, just like you are. That's a really solid team. Very few weaknesses, like your football team. So, when you look at them on film, how do you scout them, and what do you think is going to be your way to go to Basha, get a victory, and move to 8-0?
Yeah, Coach Max did a great job with that program, and they got a lot of great players. You talked about the number of D1 guys on the field. I think minimize the mental errors is the number one. Can you be disciplined? With a lot of emotions throughout the course of the game, can we handle the emotions and continuously to just be sound? I think that's the biggest thing, and be disciplined across the board and execute when it's the most crucial moments when it happens. I don't think one play defines a game. It's over the course of how many ever plays it takes, and I know Roy talked about the numbers and the scoreboard. If you win by 50 or average 50 points, or you win by 3 or 1, a dub's a dub for the column. And I think, we just have to play great team football and collectively as a group, from offense, defense, and our special teams wise. If we all can find ways to continuously make our plays and own our moments when they show up, I think put us in the best position possible to be successful. And it's all in preparation that takes place Monday through Thursday. So those guys are walking in Friday confident more than ever.
Coach Travis Dixon, in his second season at the helm of the Hamilton Huskies, he will battle the Basha Bears on Friday night in the Max Preps Game of the Week. He brought along Roy Oliver. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time tonight. It was a pleasure getting to talk with you finally here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan, and we look forward to catching up with you guys. We'll obviously keep our eyes on you throughout the rest of the season, as we know Hamilton's going to make a deep playoff run this season in the 6A. Thank you guys for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night, fellas.
Thank you, guys.
You too.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Stay with us. More of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan coming up after the break. We will visit with the play-by-play voice of the Max Preps Game of the Week. Mr. Jeff Kurtz joins us after the break. Stay with us. Get ready to feel the burn in Phoenix's newest hotspot. Hot Chicken Alley brings the sizzling Nashville-style hot chicken straight to your plate. Our finger-licking sandwiches will set your taste buds on fire. Come join us for a taste of Nashville right here in Phoenix at the corner of Tatum and Thunderbird. Brace yourself for a flavor explosion that'll keep you coming back for more. Hot Chicken Alley, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Football, right here on the Epic Sports Network.
All Insurance has been serving Arizona drivers for over 30 years, so we have the experience to take great care of you. We can help you over the phone or face-to-face from one of our 30 convenient valley-wide locations. We represent all of the top carriers, so we do the shopping for you. Find out why we're the most referred agency in Arizona. All Insurance, insurance for all.
We welcome you back to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan here on the Epic Sports Network. James Spoovy alongside my broadcast partners, Mr. Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo. Guys, Friday night is going to be outstanding out there in South Chandler as the Basha Bears host the Hamilton Huskies. 7-0 against 7-0. It doesn't get much better than that on an Arizona Friday night.
Yeah, JP, Jamal, that may be the game of the year, not just the game of the week. It could turn out to be the game of the year. My goodness, I know you're excited to get out there, JP, to get on the sidelines and then get some interviews afterwards. That is going to be an outstanding football game. Everybody's going to be there.
Yes, I'm excited for it. Let's go ahead and get the play-by-play voice of the Max Preps Game of the Week, Mr. Jeff Kurtz, joining us here, who is also the vice president of the NFHS Network Western Division. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time. Just give us a brief synopsis of how this partnership came together, and you guys, along with Mr. Zach Poff, of course, put together the Max Preps Game of the Week, and it's been nothing but fun to watch these games on Friday night this season.
Well, thank you very much. And first of all, I've got to say, you guys are my new favorite coaches sports talk show, because I came in, I was in the waiting room, and you gave me half my game prep for the interview with Roy Oliver and the coach. And then whatever the food ad was that you ran first, I've got to go there when I'm in Phoenix.
Oh, Hot Chicken Alley? Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Hold on. Let me write that down. Chicken Alley. So I got to figure that out.
Hot Chicken Alley, brother.
All right,
yes,
I got to do that. We get it, jotting that down.
Jeff, we get it every Thursday night for TNF. It is spectacular.
Okay, all right.
And, and Jamal eats it all.
Yeah, I got to hit that up after the game. Probably after the game. Hopefully they're open that late.
Yes.
But,
yes.
So already, guys, you have helped me out a ton here tonight. So I appreciate that very much. So and just to answer your question, James, originally, this is the first year we're doing the Max Preps Game of the Week, and the NFHS Network under Play On Sports is the main company that owns the NFHS Network, GoFan Ticketing, and now Max Preps purchased Max Preps back in March. And we had this idea, which quite frankly was a long time in coming, which is, hey, we've got all these great streams on the NFHS Network. Max Preps all these great stats and all this fantastic content. It's like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Can we put the peanut butter and chocolate together and just put this all on one page? So it streams to maxpreps.com, the Max Preps YouTube channel, and NFHS Network all at the same time. And it's a fantastic combination of the two platforms together, I think. I mean, we've been going to visiting a lot of top 25 teams around the country this year. We've been to Alabama, Texas. We're going to be going to Florida after this week in Phoenix. We've been to the Bay Area. We were just in Portland last week for West Lynn and Lake Oswego, the top two teams in the state of Oregon, both undefeated. Now we're going into this Hamilton Basha game, 2 top teams in the state, both undefeated. So it's been a real opportunity to see a lot of great high school teams and provide a lot of great high school content for high school fans across the country this year.
And Jeff, we talked to Coach Dixon about this. 36 players that's going to be there Friday night are Division I commits, or they've got Division I offers. That is ridiculous to say that the state of Arizona has that level of talent on both of these football teams, that every team, all these teams across the country are busting down doors to try to get to these guys.
Yeah, it's really remarkable, isn't it? And you know, the interesting thing to see too, and it seems like every week practically we've got, there's 35 kids who've got D1 offers on this team, some freshmen. I think the biggest thing and you saw that with Roy Oliver and then with Jack Scully as well, the quarterback for Hamilton, is that you're seeing a lot more, I think, kids coming into the high school level and making a contribution in their freshman and sophomore year. That's not just like, they're playing special teams or they get like 6 carries a game. Like Oliver is set to break the school record for receiving yards in his sophomore year. I mean, that's just insane, you know, so we've seen across the country a lot of kids making contributions at a young age. And I think it just points to the strength in Arizona in particular, and in a lot of the other states we're going to as well, where you've got so many talented athletes, and the college football landscape has changed so dramatically just in the last 5 years or so that it's amazing to see how quickly kids are developing and how quickly schools are giving them offers, even at the lower, underclassmen levels.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, Ed mentioned the 36 players that have Division I offers in this game, and obviously Jack Scully and Roy Oliver leading the charge in terms of those players. But yeah, other than those guys, who are really stepping up? Because I mean, you see the guys over at Basha and they're 7-0 in these 2 high-powered offenses. Which players are standing out to you so far this season?
Well, and from Basha in particular, we've got our eye on, and I got to credit Zach Poff for this because he is just all over the high school space in terms of football coverage for Max Preps, and does such a great job keeping tabs on all the athletes and the teams. But in particular, we're looking at Noah Roberts at running back this week for Basha, and then giving the offensive line a little bit of love. Jake Hildebrand is pretty good at offensive line, and we've seen a lot of good offensive linemen this year across the country. So in this particular game, those are kind of the folks we're keeping an eye on. But, Basha's defense is so good and Hamilton's offense is so good. It's going to be a really interesting matchup when you've got those 2 opposing forces going at each other. And then simultaneously, I'm sure Hamilton's defense and Basha's offense are like, hey, we need some PR too. So they're obviously going to be pretty keyed up for the game too.
Jeff, we know you're based in Southern California, and it's really cool for us. Ed and I have been doing this high school broadcasting for about 8 to 10 years now, and see the rise of Arizona high school football. We got guys playing on Sundays now, a lot of guys playing at a high level on Saturdays. What are you seeing from your perspective with respect to the rise of Arizona high school football over the past, let's say, 10 years or so?
Well, I think, one of the things, I mean, you look at a great example is obviously Spencer Rattler, right? And he was featured on Netflix in QB1. And so you see a lot more of that kind of dynamic. And that was obviously a few years ago now, but I don't know. I think it's a couple of factors. One, I think there's always been a lot of talent in Arizona for football, but maybe a lot of it was under the radar. You hear a lot about California, Texas, and Florida. And so maybe some other states don't get as much publicity. But now I think that with social media having taken such a huge hold, with shows like yours, with Max Preps and what they do and have done for a long time, I think that there's now more highlight on athletes who are already pretty good, but might have not gotten the same level of press beyond, like, say, local media. Like, they were known in their town or in their county, but now with all the national rankings and everything, it's hard to be really good and people not know who you are.
Right. Jeff, let's circle back to these young players, these freshmen and sophomores that come to these programs, like a Jack Scully, like a Roy Oliver, 2 sophomores, like a Kevin Smith, a freshman at Maryvale, like a Isaac Buchanan leading the Maryvale rushing attack, and he's only a sophomore. What does it say about those young men? And there's a million others across the country that come in their first and second years, and they make impacts and they explode on their football teams. What does it say about every one of those young men and every one of those programs that they can come on and they can be impactful and they can produce in their first and second years?
Well, I think the training is obviously a lot better, right? And then, of course, you've got, I mean, people are, and honestly, I think for a lot of skill positions, 7-on-7, and even some of the flag football that kids play before they even get into, say, Pop Warner or something like that, I think makes a huge difference. I think the training is a lot better. And I think it's interesting because I think the maturity of these players is a lot better. I mean, Coach was just talking about how, we have to have the mental preparation for this kind of game, and we have to have the mental discipline. Well, you don't put a sophomore out there at wide receiver or even in his freshman year if they don't have the mental discipline to make plays. I mean, and to stay within the confines of the game, because that's a lot. That's a lot to ask, right? I mean, we joke, but like we've covered some players on the NFHS network over the last couple of years who were in the middle of a broadcast and they're a freshman quarterback and they've thrown 36 touchdowns this year to 3 picks. And we were like, hey, this kid was in homeroom last year and now he's in a state championship game as the starting quarterback. Like, that's a huge leap. I don't know if you remember back to 8th grade to your freshman year, guys. I was not ready for that kind of a leap in whatever sport it was, much less making this kind of an impact on the football field that some of these kids are. So I think there's a lot, I think, that's gone into the training and the maturity level of these kids. And it's really remarkable to see.
Yeah, to kind of build off of that, Jeff, in terms of the coaches, we talked about the players and how talented and skilled they are, but it's not without the coaches in which they get to that next level. We talked to Coach Dixon of the Huskies and the Carter brothers, Coach Mark and Marcus Carter for Maryvale. How important is the coaching in able to develop these players?
Well, I think the one thing that I have seen, and I talk to a lot of coaches every week, and not just on the Max Preps game of the week. I mean, once that's over, our last game is on the 31st in Fort Lauderdale. We then go in to cover, high school playoffs around the country. And I get to bounce around to different parts of California, sometimes different states. And I think if people were concerned about how coaches are now with players, there are a lot of young people who are in really good hands. Like every coach I've talked to this year in every game we've covered for the Max Preps game of the week, and you could hear it from Coach Dixon as well, are like people where you would want your kid to play for them, even if they don't play much, just to be in their presence and learn what it is to be an adult, whether this is girls or boys. Obviously, we're focusing on football here today, but I think that it's been really remarkable how many coaches have come back. They played professionally and now they want to coach at the high school level, or they played collegiately, or they just played at their high school and then they got into the coaching ranks and then have come back to their school, or they were at a neighboring school and now they're over here and they're in their mid-30s and they want to make that contribution and they're connecting with the athletes in a different way. And I think there's more, and in this generation of players, obviously it's shifted a lot, guys, from the Bear Bryant, Alabama days, Oklahoma drills, all that kind of stuff. You really have to build players up. But as one coach told me a couple weeks ago, he said, if you build the players up enough, they will run through a wall for you. And that's a little different than I think what you may have seen 40, 50 years ago, which might have been a little more fear-based. Not to say that there's not that there too, because the coach can still make you run wind sprints. But I think it's a little different in that you really like the level of respect that's there, and people are emulating the folks that they see on their coaching staffs, and you see a lot of really quality people doing that work now. And I think that's pretty remarkable too.
Jeff, you guys have had the privilege of, like you said, canvassing the country this season with this Max Preps game of the week. I mean, just a couple short weeks ago, you were on Reginald Samples Field there in Dallas for that Duncanville DeSoto game, one of the best rivalries in all of high school football. What's been your favorite moment so far?
Well, honestly, the week before that, we were in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'd never been to Tennessee. And we were covering a game there between two rival schools that are both boarding schools. And the atmosphere was absolute, and it was alumni weekend at both. Both schools have been in existence since 1900. Peyton Manning's son is an 8th grader at one of the schools, and they were, and he was in attendance just to watch the game because his son's going to be playing there next year. There were probably 10,000 people there, and then standing room only under a sunset descending upon the Tennessee Valley as players were playing football, and the game went down to the final possession. And it was just a fantastic, just high school experience. And where we were set up, and you guys know this from being around high schools, the accommodations can really vary, right? in terms of press boxes.
That might be the understatement of the century, Jeff.
Yeah,
Go
no
ahead.
kidding, right? Don't we all want to be press box designers for high school athletics after we all retire? Like that's the way to go, right? Yeah. So, but we were in the visitors press box and almost right in the student section for the visiting team. And it was almost like we were in the crowd, and it was such an electric atmosphere. It was just fantastic. I mean, it was exactly what you expect high school sports to be. But everywhere we've gone has been magical. Like, just being in Portland, Oregon last week, there's pine trees all around the football field. Like, you couldn't ask for a better atmosphere. Duncanville, DeSoto, you mentioned, we're at Duncanville. Fantastic stadium. We've been a couple great places in Georgia. And then, we did a De La Salle game, and they're obviously one of the most storied programs in the country after their 151 game winning streak in the 90s and early 2000s. So it's a real privilege to get to go to all these places and see these really great programs play and perform.
Mr. Jeff Kurtz, the play-by-play voice of the Max Preps Game of the Week, joining us here. He's also the vice president of the Western Division of the NFHS Network. And Jeff, thank you so much for your time tonight, and thank you for all your support, especially over the past couple seasons as we've gotten this Epic Sports Network off the ground. Of course, we're a proud NFHS Network affiliate, and you were right by our side there as I got the Friday Night Red Zone going a couple seasons ago. I'm hoping to bring that back here in the next couple seasons, but we're excited for Friday night's game, Basha at Hamilton, or Hamilton at Basha, I should say. And I'll see you over there on Friday night. Thank you so much for your time, and great having you on here with us this evening.
Yeah, you guys are doing great work highlighting high school athletics in Arizona, and I appreciate being on, and you have a new fan for sure of this show. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
And Chicken Alley.
Thank you, Jeff.
And I'm all over Chicken Alley, man.
Hot
chicken all over it.
Another tip for you there is as you'll be very near one of our other sponsors, Burrito Express. They have a brand new location there right near Basha High School. Unfortunately, it's about an hour flight for you to get over to Hot Chicken Alley from Basha High School. So Burrito Express might be a little bit more doable, but you got to get in there before.
Unless you get it on the way over, Jeff. On the way over to Basha. Yeah.
All right. I'll have to see how I can work both of these in at some point. Well, that might be my halftime. That might be our halftime show, is my adventures to Chicken Alley before I go to Burrito Express later.
Fantastic, Jeff. Thank you so much for your time, my friend. Always great to catch up with you.
Thank you,
guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Stay with us. We'll wrap up this edition of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan after the break.
Discover more Play for All at Harrah's Auction Casino.
Hi, folks. Here are your drink.
Where having fun means racking up reward credits with the Caesars Rewards loyalty program. They can be redeemed for food, free play, hotel stays, and more. Not only here in the city of Maricopa, but also at more than 50 Caesars properties coast to coast. From Harrah's Las Vegas to Caesars Palace in Atlantic City. What are you waiting for? Play for all at Harrah's Auction Casino, the official sponsor of Play.
We welcome you back to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Spoovy alongside Mr. Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo. Guys, what a show tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. And what a weekend we got, or a week coming up of Arizona high school football, starting on Thursday night with our Thursday night football game of the week on 12 plus. Maryvale hosting Carl Hayden, and then that Max Preps game of the week between Basha and Hamilton. Some great football coming up in just a few short days.
Jamal, we always go 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go 1, 3. So right to you.
Listen, this is when you talk about the two games that I'm looking forward to. I mean, the regional game in terms of Maryvale and Carl Hayden, that's going to be a physical, nasty game. Those are personally my favorite, fellas. I love the nasty, the ugly, the violent, those games. And it might not be those 35-28 games. That might be a 13-17 game, but it's going to be fun to watch because everybody's going to be playing their tail off. It's going to get messy. It's going to get ugly. That's what football is. And then when you look at Hamilton and Basha, 2 7-0 teams, those are two very, very high-powered offenses. Like you guys mentioned earlier, 36 players in that game with Division I offers. It's absolutely going to be fun to watch.
36.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, fellas. And to see that, and for that to be, like you guys mentioned, quite possibly the best game in all of the country in terms of high school football. And again, talking with Roy Oliver, one of the best receivers in the state, and the numbers that he's put up so far this year, he's going to have a huge impact, if not the country. And so he's going to have his impact on the game. Fellas, I cannot wait for this weekend of games.
And the fact that the brothers Carter are building up Maryvale and Coach Phillips is building up Carl Hayden, This is going to be a good game on Thursday. As you mentioned, Jamal, it's going to be physical. Can Damani Mitchell and Mekhi Wright, if they tag team on quarterback, can they score more points than Maryvale? Because we saw what Masson did last week against Alhambra. He had 8 touchdowns. So you know you're going to have to score points against Maryvale. Can Carl Hayden score enough points, and can their defense get stops? Key stops. It's going to be about getting pressure on number 2 and bringing him down, forcing turnovers. But it should be a good game. And as you mentioned, 2 teams that we've never seen before on TNF. That's going to be a great win. And of course, Hamilton Basha. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? 2 7-0 teams, 2 of the best teams in the entire country. JP, you'll be there. Hopefully, Sonia will be there. You know, so that's a game that everybody's going to be at, and everybody's going to talk about on Friday night and throughout the entire weekend.
I mean, everybody's already talking about it. And look at us tonight. We had the play-by-play voice of that game on here with us just a little bit ago. Special thanks to Mr. Jeff Kurtz for joining us. And hey, it looks like we gained another fan as well tonight. So that's always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Special thanks to him for coming on here with us. Always a proud supporter of Epic Sports Network and what we try to do here for these athletes. And guys, what a fantastic show. Thank you so much for your time tonight. And
of course,
you know, Jeff said it a little bit ago. These high school football is in good hands, and I think Arizona high school football is in really good hands with some coaches, and players that we have here in this state 48.
Absolutely, because the coaches care, don't they, Jamal? They love their players.
Yep.
They love their programs. They love what they're trying to build at each and every one of these schools, and to see them churn out quality young men like a Roy Oliver, like a Kevin Smith, like a Masan Alekpovi. Did I say his name right?
You did.
Alekpovi. Yeah.
Yes. We're still going to work on that. We're going to keep working.
We got a couple of days to get that right.
A little bit less than 48 hours.
Yeah, but don't you just love to see these young men achieve, not only on the football field, but in the classroom, in their community service? That's what it's all about. Yeah, it's great to see them go out and play and throw the ball, run the ball, get stops, get interceptions, get key stops, but to see what they turn out to be as quality young men, like a Jamal Gumo.
Exactly right. And you guys know what we're talking about here with those grades, because we all know, unfortunately, football ends for everybody one day.
Yeah.
But then it's going to be about, hey, what about those grades? How are we looking? How's that degree? What did you get your degree in? What like, you're right, because that's what it's going to come down to. And, you know, the coaches are stressing the grades along with the football. That's why we say student athlete first.
Yep.
And the rest of it will take care of itself. But guys, what a show. Thank you so much for your time. And we've gone 8 minutes over here tonight, but that's the best part about doing our own thing. We can go over if we want, right?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It really is good stuff. For Ed Cole and Jamal Gumo, I'm James Spoovy saying so long. Have a great night, and make sure you join us on Thursday night from the home of the Panthers at Maryvale High School. We'll be on the air right here on the Epic Sports Network at 6:30 p.m., and the folks at 12 Plus will join us at 7 for kickoff. Thursday night football coming your way in just 2 short days. Thanks again for tuning in tonight, and special thanks once again to all of our guests here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan tonight.